A Windows Phone 8 dogfight this time. How's it going, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and I've got the Nokia Lumia 920 and the HTC Windows Phone 8X pitting them head-to-head in a dogfight battle. Which one to win? You gotta watch and find out, friends. But first, special thanks to our partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like this for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile to get either of these devices, you walk out working. They help you set up your email, your web, your contacts, and more. So when you walk out the door, you're good to go. Lumia 920, 8X, it's a dogfight battle, and it starts right now. It may seem like Android's the OS that's permeating every single wireless carrier right now, but Windows Phone's doing a great job as well. All in all, you've got a lot of choice this holiday season. Two of those are right here. One is the Nokia Lumia 920. It's available now at AT&T in 5 different colors: yellow, red, white, black, and then the cyan blue, for $99.99 with a 2-year agreement. Full retail price is $449.99, making this really attractive on two different fronts. One from a contract perspective, and one from a full retail perspective. It's cheap, relatively speaking, at $450, and it's very cheap at $99.99 on a 2-year contract. It's packing some killer specifications, including a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 processor. You've got 32 gigabytes of internal storage here. You've got a 2,000 milliamp hour non-removable battery, 4G LTE connectivity here, micro SIM card slot, and then we broke it and the dogfight ended. No, I'm just kidding. 4.5-inch HD display here, so they really made some strides and improved this over the Nokia Lumia 900, brought it in to 2012 with specs, and now it's ready to rock against the high-end Android devices and, of course, the iPhone 5 on the iOS side. The price point's very good here. Love the wireless charging as well. You do get wireless charging capabilities on all Lumia 920s out of the box. Then you have the HTC 8X over here. This is HTC's Windows Phone 8 device, their flagship unit. It's available in a number of different colors depending on which carrier you go with. This is the Verizon version, but it's available on AT&T and T-Mobile as well. The benefit here on the Verizon version, the VZW version is the only one to support wireless charging. So you can actually do wireless charging on this as well if it's something that interests you. That said, it starts at Verizon at $199.99. So specs-wise, if we're doing it based on price, the dogfight's already over. This one wins because specs-wise, you got the same 1.5 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 S4 processor here, and then you got over on this side, 8 megapixel camera over here, 4.3-inch HD display, so you get 720p here, but bigger display, wireless charging across the board on all the Lumias, even though it's only available on AT&T, the Lumia 920. You get a bigger display, you have 4G LTE connectivity, which both of these have, of course, but then you get a better camera all around as well. That said, you get a thinner and lighter body over here, but you only get 16 gigabytes of internal storage. So if you're looking for 32, the Lumia 920 is going to be your bag. If you want this one, $199 only gets you 16 gigabytes on the 8X. So that's something to keep in mind as you're looking at these. That said, the design here is absolutely beautiful. Curved, feels nice in the hand. 4.3 inches is going to be a nice sweet spot for a lot of people that think the Galaxy S3 is too big, that think the Galaxy Note 2 is huge, that think, the 4.7-inch display on the Nexus 4, for example, is too big. This is going to be a nice device for them. The downside here is this one is a really weighty device. It's a big device. It's 0.42 inches thick, but it just weighs a lot. It's 6.53 ounces here as opposed to 4.66 ounces over on this one. So you really feel the difference. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're carrying these around on a daily basis, this is a chunky device. It's very meaty. You can see here by looking at the top. It still fits well in the hand, but that said, you really feel the weight on this device. Now, weight for you may be a good thing. Maybe you like the way a device feels when it has a little bit more weight to it. It's easier to hold, or you prefer it in your hand as opposed to something else. That said, this one's going to be harder to fit in the pocket. This one's a little bit easier. It's thinner, it's lighter, but it only has a 1,800 milliamp hour non-removable battery. LTE on Verizon, LTE on AT&T, HSPA Plus on T-Mobile on the 8X. Let's take a look at the specs here, because both of these are running Windows Phone 8, and for the most part, you're really going to see few differences minus the carrier installed stuff, and of course a few other things which I'll point out in the dogfight. First of all, you'll see AT&T stuff here: Code Scanner, Family Map, Navigator, Radio, UVerse Live TV. You'll see the typical Microsoft Windows Phone 8 stuff: ESPN, games, music and videos, My AT&T, and then you get some Nokia stuff here. So the value proposition on the software standpoint, I've argued this in almost all the dogfights this holiday season. Android's about the same across the board. Windows Phone 8 is exactly the same across the board. Where these manufacturers distinguish themselves, they distinguish based on operating system software features. Whether it's software features within the OS itself, or in the case of Windows Phone 8, since it's mostly stock across the board, value-added software like Nokia City Lens, Nokia Drive, Nokia Maps, Nokia Music. You get the benefit of that over here on this device. Office, OneNote, all that stuff here as well. Weather Channel is something I installed, and YP Mobile is an AT&T thing. You get Wallet on both of these devices, so you can take advantage of wireless payment solutions if it's available in your area. And then on this one, you've got some Verizon stuff. DataSense is actually exclusive to Verizon wireless devices on Windows Phone 8 right now. So you see this on this device, you see it on the Lumia 822, which is over on Verizon as well. And you see some stuff I installed, Xbox. HTC is actually really beneficial because if you like Sense, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, Microsoft doesn't allow customizations to Windows Phone 8. What they do allow you to do is create software applications. So you see a lot of different Nokia stuff over here. You see things like HTC, which used to be HTC Hub over here. But you see it brings kind of a Sense-like look and feel to an application where if you like Sense, perhaps you're coming from an HTC Android device and you moved over to Windows Phone, you can get that kind of similar look and feel of Sense without switching completely over to Windows Phone 8. So you got that out of the box there according to on the HTC side rather. Then you have DataSense, like I said, My Verizon Mobile, NFL Mobile, a bunch of Verizon applications. Fortunately, the Verizon stuff can be uninstalled and the AT&T stuff can be uninstalled. Right now it's kind of exclusive to Windows Phone. You see Verizon bloatware and AT&T bloatware on Android devices all the time, and very rarely can you remove it. Or granted, you can disable it, but actually removing it as a whole, that's a pretty impressive feature in my book on Windows Phone 8. A couple little frustrations here. Well, actually, you know what, before I start with the frustrations, let's go into the settings and I'll show you what's changed on the personalization front. Windows Phone 8's done made some strides when it comes to personalization. You can see theme here, for example. You'll notice, first of all, a bunch of different colors here out of the box. Instead of those typical 7 or 8 colors that came on Windows Phone 7 and 7.5, you got a bunch of different options to choose from. Crimson happens to be my favorite, but you got a bunch of different choices down here. For example, steel and olive are another two of my favorites. You got mauve, and then you got, what is it, gold or taupe. And then you've got brown, and a bunch of different options to choose from where it's not just red, green, blue, pink. You've got a bunch of different color tones to choose from, so that's something to keep in mind as well. So they've made some strides with personalization here, both on the theme colors and on the lock screen. This is something I'm particularly impressed with, and I'll show you on the Nokia side as well, just to give you an idea what you're getting on both. Lock screen here, and you'll see background. First of all, you can change your background around now, and if you have certain applications installed, you can take advantage of those applications. For example, I don't have many on either one of these devices, but if you pull out another Windows Phone 8 device I've worked with, I've got like Facebook, CNN, and they offer lock screen solutions. So when I turn on, for example, I was using the 8X on T-Mobile, when I turn it on, it brings up CNN breaking news based on the CNN application. Same thing with Facebook. You can bring it up and it'll show pictures from your album, so your lock screen never looks the same. I'm a fan of the HTC one because when you close it out here and you take a look, you'll see that it brings up weather, very Sense-ish in terms of the look and feel. I've got 66 degrees in Dallas, and to me that is freezing, so I'm wearing a sweater, but you got Dallas here, and you can see, of course, the clouds in the background. Over here, you've got Bing as an option and photo, although, like I said, when you download additional applications, you'll get more. So you can see the Bing wallpaper there, and it's changing around depending on the day. So you get a new wallpaper, a fresh one every single day. So these types of personalization things are great. Groupon is supported as well in this lock screen application, and you'll see more and more applications as Windows Phone 8 continues to take off. So those things are nice. Also want to go back to the lock screen and show you this as well. You'll remember probably in Windows Phone 7 you had a little preview area on the bottom of the display. Well, now you can customize which messages or which calendar appointments or which phone calls matter most to you. So let's say for me, you know what, I'm a text message person. Actually, that's not even that true anymore. I'm really an email person thanks to work. So let's say this is my work email account. I can set Outlook so when I get that text preview at the bottom on the lock screen, it'll show the preview of text for my email. So if I get an email from one of my staff members, if I get an email from a PR person I need to respond to quickly, or the owner of the company, I can jump in and respond to it right away. You still get the shortcuts down at the bottom as well, and that's what this is highlighting. You can choose your shortcuts. So games, for example, I can choose that one. Messaging, let's say I want messaging over on this side instead. Then I can do voicemail over here. So I can kind of customize those so when I have a missed call or a missed text, it'll show up at different places on the bottom of the screen. So these are minor customizations, but it shows that they're making strides in making this as user-friendly as possible. Let's say messaging as well. When I turn it off and back on, it'll show my text messaging preview right there. Another great thing, the lock screen tile, or excuse me, the home screen tiles are now customizable in terms of size. So you can see here I've got a bunch of different sizes. I can make them smaller or larger if I want to. This is a benefit. You got 3 base sizes here. You got this size, the size that you see there, and then a smaller size as well. So you can really customize this and make it your own. If I wanted a phone one, I wanted to put these in the middle, for example. Let's see if I can get it to separate these two. Let's see. Try to do this on camera. Let's separate these. And it seems to be having issues. It wants to group all those together. Let's see if I can get these together. But you see what I can do with this customization. I can move stuff around, really make it my own. And let's try to get these. What I'm trying to do is get these in the middle. So as I was saying, you can customize them and make them smaller or larger depending on your personal taste. So moving this one aside for just a second, let's say that you know what, you want to customize and change them around, you can do that. And thanks to the tile sizes, depending on how big or how small they are, they'll give you an accurate indicator of a preview. So for example, my calendar will show my appointments, and if I have the messaging one set to its full size, I'll get to see text messaging previews as well on both of these devices. In part 2, we'll talk about what distinguishes both of these devices from each other, size, some different software features, we'll go into depth in the Nokia stuff, and more. So stay tuned for part 2.